Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. It's been a hot minute, but I've got all of these supplies here and I am going to be doing this project with Ohuhu markers, which I am very excited about. You know, I love these Ohuhu markers. And today we have Ben here, my husband, who is going to help us create this project. We're going to switch drawings every 20 minutes and see what we can come up with. It should be very interesting, so let's get right into it. This video is filmed in my perspective, so you're only going to be seeing what I'm drawing and what I'm adding and how I'm reacting to what he's already drawn. But if you want to see him react and draw things too, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss that video, which will be coming out soon. But for now, I'm starting off by drawing a duck, which is a little strange. It's just the first thing that popped into my head, and I just went with it since there's really no point in planning since I have no idea what he's going to draw. And now it's time to outline, which I accidentally forgot to film the entire thing, but that's alright, we just kept on going with it. And now it's time to bring in my colors, which I decided to make the duck blue, and I'm not really sure why I decided to do that. I just felt like it'd be fun and a little bit different, so why not try it? Since this is kind of an experimental drawing process, I decided to just go ahead with whatever I wanted, and then I also made the beak and his feet purple because I just felt like that went along with the blue. And then after that, I took this light pink and added in even more details. I wanted it to look extra fluffy and like a little baby duckling. So I went ahead and did that, and I wanted to create a little bit of an environment around him. I'm not really sure what it's going to look like in the end, but I knew I wanted him to be standing in some grass, so I used 3 different shades of green to create some grass, and then I went ahead and outlined it as well, just to kind of give it a cartoony effect. That's kind of the vibe that I was going for, and I wanted it to be cohesive with one another, and I think it was turning out pretty cute, kind of wild. But now it's time to accessorize with my gel pens, because you know I love my gel pens, so I went ahead and did some of that. And now I'm making the duck even more detailed because I had extra time left over, and then I decided since I had even more time, I needed to add a little bit more of a story here, so I gave the duck a little birthday hat, and I decided to go ahead and color that in all fun colors in pink and purple like the emoji. And then after that, it was time to add even more gel pen details, so I put some gold on the little poof on his hat and added in some details with the marker. I wanted to make it look even more cartoony, so I took a bigger marker and did some outlining, and here's what I came up with for the first 20-minute session. So now it's time to switch out and see what he drew. So here's his drawing, a very different approach here. We're going to have 2 very different drawings in the end for sure, which is very exciting because it would be boring if they were the same. His drawing was immediately giving me Harry Potter vibes, so I wanted to create a bit of a background for that. So I kind of created like a bit of a Big Ben kind of type of feeling vibe in the background with a giant clock, and then I decided to add in a whole bunch of brick buildings in the background to also build on that effect, and created this little tower complete with a flag that I tried to create. And I wanted to put a little lion emblem inside of it, but it was really small, so the details got a little bit fuzzy. But then after that, I created a whole bunch of different brick details, and then I wanted to create kind of a magic orb that it looked like that the person on the broom was reaching for. So I decided to try and create that, and I used a whole bunch of different line widths to give it a little more detail and to try and make it look closer in the foreground. And then I wanted to create a blue fire look to it because an orange fire would just be boring and normal, but a blue fire would be a bit more magical. So I really tested myself here on my ability to draw flames, and then I tried to make it look like it had a little bit of a glowing light, and of course added in some gel pen highlights to really give it that extra magic touch. And now it's time to work on the buildings. I tried to play a little bit with color here. I used purple to create some shadows, and then I just went ahead in with regular brown to try and color in the rest of the buildings, and I think they turned out pretty cool. I really tried really hard to make them look kind of nice. Backgrounds in architecture and design are not my forte. That was a lot of things that I just said that I'm not strong at, but anyway. Then I went ahead and colored in the clock, decided to use some gold gel pen detail to really make all of the accents pop and be a little bit more whimsical and magical. And then it was time to color in part of the sky, and that's all I had to do for my 20 minutes, and then it was time to switch again. So here's mine again, and he did a lot of backgrounds for me, which was super exciting and gave me a lot of ideas. So here I am working off of what he drew in here. He drew this flower in the front, and I thought a cute little magical frog to match the duck would be the perfect touch. page. And this is when the story in my head really started to unfold. I wanted to make this frog on top of this flower a wizard frog, and it's the duck's birthday on the side, so I figured, this wizard is here to grant this duck a little wish. So that's the story that I have so far. So this frog is popping out of the flower that he drew, and I wanted to bold outline everything just to make it look matchy to the duck, and then I decided to keep the effect that he had in the background of the flower being magical, so I added in all of these stars and whimsical details, and now it's time to actually get to color them in, which is my favorite part, and I had the perfect plan for what color I wanted everything to be. Obviously, the frog is going to be green, which I say obviously, but I made the duck literally blue, so I guess it's not that obvious that the frog was going to be green, but that's the color I decided to make him, and then I gave him a classic wizard hat that's blue with some yellow stars on it. After that, it was time to color in the flower, which was actually one of my favorite parts of this entire drawing. I used this really bright pink purpley color to create some depth in the flower, and then I decided to also bring that up into the magic of the flower behind the frog. So this was such a cool touch, and then I used a lighter color to go ahead and add sort of a gradient to the flower, and then I also put that in the background as well to match the flower. And then after that, finally I took one more color, pink, and decided to create even more of a gradient to make it soft and more of a baby pink color. And now it's time to add in the magic with my gel pens. So first I added in a whole bunch of highlights to add in some texture to the drawing, and then after that I added in some gold around the stars to really make them pop, and I also decided to add in some gold to the background to make it look super magical and whimsical, and like this frog is really someone special. I also added in some magical little sparkles to make the background look extra magical and special, and then after that it was completed, so I decided to add in a little bit more of a glow to it, and then after that I decided to add in some grass to match the side that my duck was on and kind of complete that line there and make them look like they were right next to each other so that it's cohesive with my story. And then that 20 minutes was up, so it's time to switch again to see what he's done. So here he has worked on the character a little bit more. He's definitely a lot more developed, so I'm going to keep working on the background and create even more details. So I decided to take this paper and outline his guy that he created and outline the broom because I want to do something special and it will require me to have a silhouette of the character he made. So I cut that out and it lines up perfectly, and now I can trace it upside down onto this page so that way it looks like there's a reflection in the water that I'm going to create down there. So I felt like that was a really cool touch. I also tried to make this little bridge with a train crossing it, which was just a very rough sketch, and now I wanted to finish making the buildings that I had made earlier to kind of create more a cohesive story on the side there. And then after that I decided to make a little water deck and make it look like this was touching the water. Architecture, again, not my strong suit, but I tried really hard and I matched these colors to the buildings that I already created to keep it super cohesive and kind of give it a nighttime look and feel. So that was the goal, and that's what I tried to do here. So I just colored everything in, and I loved getting to work on the windows. I felt like making them look like they were illuminated was such a fun touch, and I definitely used the gel pen to do that for the most part. Created a lot of magical sparkles, and then I decided to try and work on the sky a little bit. So I decided to try and add in some clouds here, which was a very unique strategy using Ohuhu markers. It was very difficult to try and create clouds kind of backwards and using Ohuhu markers, because usually, you can put darker over lighter, but you can't put lighter over darker. So I had to do the clouds backwards and create them before I could fill in the rest of the sky. So that was pretty challenging, but this is what I came up with. And now it's time to switch back once again. And he made this adorable little ladybug on the page, which just fit so well with the theme. And now I'm working even more on the background that he also filled in. And this tree is done so well. He's very good about drawing things that I think are really hard. He draws trees really well, hands really well, which like every artist knows that hands are a nightmare, but he does them really well. So now I'm just going ahead and coloring in everything that he's left for me, starting with the trees, and I'm using the same colors for all of them. So I started with the dark green, and now I'm going in with a lighter shade of green to create some details in the trees and make them look a little bit feathery and tree-like. I don't know how he managed to put character in this tree, but it definitely has character. Like the little lean it has to it is just so cute. Like, is that weird? I don't know. Maybe that's an artist thing, but it looks cute to me. And then I used another shade of green to color in the rest of the tree. And then I got to work on the stump, which was actually a lot of fun. And then I decided to move over to the middle tree, which is kind of the center stage focus. So I wanted to make this one look even more magical and whimsical. So I decided to kind of make it look like a fall tree, even though the rest of the trees kind of look like it's spring or summer. I wanted this one to look like it was fall. So I added in a whole bunch of yellow and orange little dots, and then I went ahead and added pink and an even darker shade of pink to try and create a lot of depth. And now I'm going ahead and outlining everything to make it all match with the rest of the designs that we already have going. So I'm just adding in an outline here to really make it look the same as the other drawings, because everything else so far has had an outline, but I don't want these outlines to be as bold because I don't want them to stand out as much as everything else that we've already made. And now it's time to color in some of the grass in the background here and outline all of that. I decided to outline this little stream of water that was created and put in there and start working on that as well. So I first started out by creating a whole bunch of water streamlines to try and make it look like the water had a direction. Tried to add in some fish, which were actually really hard to draw. And then after that, it was time to add in even more lines to create some pattern and depth. I tried to add in even more lines to indicate water, but I'm not really sure if that was a mistake. And then it was time to color in the whole thing. I picked the same shade of blue as the duck, which I was kind of worried about, but then I was like, nah, it's okay. The duck can just be camouflaged. And then it was time to switch back. So he made this really cool pink smoke cloud, which I was so impressed with. And then I went ahead and colored in the rest of the sky, which actually took 10 minutes, but I figured you wouldn't want to see me color in purple for 10 minutes straight. So then after that, I added in a whole bunch of magical sparkly dots and decided to really finish working on the sky. So I used a silver gel pen to add in a whole bunch of star details, which turned out to be one of my favorite parts of this drawing. I just felt like it was so fun, and I decided to backlight the character with a white gel pen to make him pop out and make sure we didn't lose him in all of the designs and patterns going on. And this is how it turned out. It's super sparkly. And then I decided to work on the bottom parts as well. So I started coloring the water with a light blue, but then I decided we needed to switch it to a darker shade since it's nighttime. I didn't want the water to be too bright. And then I decided to add in the colors of the guy up top down to the bottom to make it look like his reflection was showing in the water just a little bit. And then I went over the entire thing with blue, and here is what I came up with. I think it turned out so well, and now it's time to switch back again, and he made this really cool dragon mountain in the left top, which gives me a lot of Hobbit vibes, which is super cool. I decided to take a silver gel pen, add in some water details, and then use a purple and blue gel pen to create some flowers in the field. I just felt like it was looking a little bit empty, even though he did a great job coloring it in. These Ohuhu markers were not working great with the paper that we were using. It was really hard to get a smooth color, but he did a great job. I decided to add in a little bit of shading, and then I went ahead and started working on the sky, which is basically the final touch on this one. So I went ahead and added in a kind of blue gradient from a deeper blue at the bottom to a lighter blue up top, added in some gel pen details to add in some clouds and really highlight everything. And then I went a little bit rogue on the gel pen and started adding it everywhere. I really liked the backlight I put on his drawing, so I went ahead and just outlined everything with a backlight, basically, even this dragon, because I really wanted it all to pop against the page and stand out. And then I added in some white gel pen details to the grass, outlined everything and added highlights to everything because I went overboard and I love a white gel pen detail. And then I went ahead and used the silver to add stars on mine as well. Even though it's daytime, I just loved the look on his that I wanted to add it to mine as well. And then I went ahead in with that white gel pen even more because I don't know when to stop and outline the duck and this cute little ladybug as well, and the frog too. After that, I added in some little sparkles to the ladybug to make him look magical. magical too. Shaded the water just a little bit to make it blend a little more and be a little matchy with the sky. And then after that, it was completed. And I think it turned out so cool, way better than I could have expected. And now it's time to take the tape off, which was super satisfying. And I think this drawing turned out so cool. I think it looks like the duck is on a little birthday quest granted to him by the frog, and he's going to journey all the way to that dragon mountain to try and find a treasure or something like that. It's just such a cool vibe, and I love how it turned out, and I think it is so beautiful and so much fun. I can't wait for you guys to see his final one. So like and subscribe and stay tuned if you want to see that video. But for now, here's a close-up look of this drawing. I think it is so cool, and it was such a fun project to get to work on together. I love that we created these pieces together. I'm calling this one mine, but we equally created both drawings, which is just the coolest thing ever. Let me know what you think about this, like and subscribe so you don't miss his, and comment down below what your favorite part about this drawing is. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. New videos every Friday. Bye!